and welcome to the lesson Mother Guilt. Any mother breathing has felt mother guilt. Under the weight of expectations, society and our own, we manifest feelings of inadequacy and guilt as mothers. Mother guilt comes in all forms and actually begins as soon as you are pregnant. Am I eating right? Taking the right vitamins? Will it affect the baby because I had 2 coffees today? And once you give birth, mother guilt turns up a notch. If you have difficulty breastfeeding or bonding with your baby or comforting your child, you instantly feel guilty and inadequate as a mother. And from that point, the guilt compounds, changes, gets more or less intense over the years, but it never ends. You feel guilty that you don't have enough time or love or energy for each of your children. You feel guilty for wanting to work. But if you don't work, you feel guilty for not providing an extra income for the family. You feel guilty for wanting to take some time out for yourself. But then you feel guilty when you take the opportunity to go and do something for yourself. So really, you can't win with mother guilt. And mother guilt is a natural consequence of wanting to be a good mother to your children. So it is inevitable to question yourself and feel that maybe you could do it a bit more. Do a bit more or do a bit better. Many women add self-judgments to these questions, which lead to a belief that they're not good enough. And these perceptions often stem from self-evaluations, but they're based on society's norms. They come from an external place of comparison and lead to self-doubt and self-criticism. There is no such thing as a perfect mother. The ideal mother or good mother is just an ideological construct. It's not real. And in today's society, this ideal image is often projected on social media, which compounds the expectations felt by mums. This is one of my favourite quotes. It says, "The reason we struggle with insecurity is because we compare our behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel." And unfortunately, when you're on social media and seeing other mothers on Facebook or Instagram that look like they're just doing it all and have no worries, then you start comparing and thinking, what am I doing wrong? Some women think they have to have their house a certain way or create healthy home-cooked meals every night or create amazing costumes for school events. And we often have a view of this perfect mother that we are forever attaining to and comparing ourselves to. And we will often be judged by well-meaning friends or family. But we don't have to accept society's judgments. When we learn to define our own ideal of motherhood, and we develop our own values and parameters to measure our success as a mother, and we practice self-kindness, then we actually build a self-confidence and a strong belief in our identity as a woman and as a mother that cannot be knocked down by others. So this image here shows my daughter's first birthday party. And the night before, I started to create her a Wags the dog birthday cake for her first birthday. But it got to about 11:30 when my husband came and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm making this cake." And he said, "But it's really late. Just come to bed and we'll buy one in the morning." And because baking is not one of my strengths, I was finding it quite challenging and obviously starting to get a little bit frustrated. And he said, "Let's just buy one in the morning." And I said, "No." I said, "I've got to make this cake." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm making it with love." And he said, "No, you're making it with frustration." And at that point, I realized that he was right. I felt that making cakes for your children is what you do as a good mother. And that was based in my perceptions because of my upbringing, and my mum had always baked cakes for me. But my mum loves baking and I don't. And I realized at that point that because I didn't love baking, it was becoming a chore for me, and that instead of showing love through baking a cake, I can show love and do show love in many other ways to my children. So from that night on, my children have always had bought cakes for their birthdays. And although I know lots of friends that make the most amazing birthday cakes for their children, and I really admire them for doing it because they really enjoy it, I know that it's not me. And therefore I do not compare myself or judge myself for not making a cake for my children for their birthdays, because I know that I'm still a good mum. Mother guilt is a wasted emotion. You will continue to feel it, but you don't have to stay in that feeling. Mother guilt actually puts you in a state of lack, which results in negative feelings, low mood, and a lack of energy to give. So allow yourself permission to create your own ideal, one that fits your family and is based on your lifestyle and your values. Each of us needs to set our own parameters of what a good mother is to us. And if that means that some days all you can give your children is your attention, some KFC for dinner, and a great big hug, then you need to go to bed that night knowing that you have done your best and you will continue to do your best every day. And that really is what a good mother is. If you think you may need a little more guidance and some tools to kick this habit of feeling mother guilt, we will cover this later in the course.